Cannonball is the lone major coaster at Lake Winnipesaukee Amusement Park in Georgia. This is a classic out-and-back wood coaster that is closing in on its 60th birthday. While this ride may not have impressive stats, it does deliver an old-school, satisfying ride experience, and I'll explain why in this review. Lake Winnie opened back in 1925, but they did not get any coasters until the 1960s. The park started with two smaller ones, a Herschel Little Dipper and then a Mad Mouse from the same manufacturer. But they added their premier coaster in 1967 with Cannonball. This would be a Philadelphia Toboggan Coasters Woody designed by John Allen. Allen was most famous for his out-and-back coasters, and Cannonball would do just that. The layout runs along the back edge of the park. You can't see too much of this ride's layout from the amusement side beyond the lift hill. The best views are from the Sokya Water Park. Like many older Woodies, this ride is a white paint scheme, and I think it looks good. But one oddity is that this coaster has no sign. The station is pretty nondescript and pedestrian. There are some cannons and cannonballs at the base of the building at least. Then the park also has its Ace Coaster landmark plaque affixed to the wall. In terms of physical queue space, Cannonball does not have much of it. You just have a single ramp right into the station. This part takes maybe 10 to 15 minutes if full. Since this is the park's only major coaster as of this recording, do not be surprised if this queue line spills onto the midway on a busier day. But I would not expect to see the line longer than a half hour at worst given the crowds this park sees. Cannonball is a 3-bench PTC train, so each train can accommodate a max of 18 riders per cycle. While the park owns 2 trains, I believe they only use one at a time. This is because the ride is still manually operated. An operator has to throw a brake lever in the station to stop the train. The station is configured with a separate load and unload platform. When it's time to board the next train, the attendants just let enough people in the station to fill that train. Seating is then on a first-come basis. If the seat you want is already taken, the operators will allow you to wait in the queue line for the next train. I have a slight preference for the front row in this coaster, but the seats towards the back are fun too. With some wood coasters, particularly the older ones, you need to avoid a wheel seat or the back of a car, but that's not the case with Cannonball. This ride is very smooth except for one spot I'll point out in my element by element breakdown. This coaster has minimalistic restraints. You have a seatbelt plus a buzz bar. These single position lap bars will rest a foot above the lap of most riders, so you have plenty of freedom to experience the airtime this ride does provide. Once checked, an operator pushes a giant lever and then you slowly roll out of the station. You round a 180-degree turn, and then you ascend the 7-story tall lift hill. While it's pretty short for a wood coaster, it is far and away one of Lake Winnie's tallest rides, and you get a nice view of the park to your right on the way up. Once at the top, you head down a straight first drop. No airtime, but it builds the speed necessary to complete the subsequent hills. The official stats claim this ride has a top speed of 50 miles per hour or 80 kilometers per hour, but I believe that speed is exaggerated like a lot of older Woodies. The pullout afterwards does have a light shake, but nothing too bad. You then fly over a tiny bunny hill. This gives wonderful floater airtime for all. Rather than being one fluid airtime moment like modern coasters, it's a bouncier moment with 2 distinct kinks. It's the best part of the ride in my opinion. Next comes a large camelback. While the train slows down over the top, you still get a tiny pop of airtime in front. Then those in back get a delayed but small burst of airtime on the descent. You then charge over another bunny hill. It gives a more weak floater up front. Towards the back, you don't quite come out of your seat, but you'll at least start to feel weightless. Next is the far turnaround. The entry gives a pinch of airtime up front. Then comes a slow turn. The drop out of it gives a little bit of airtime for those in back. Then comes the one pullout I alluded to earlier in the review. This part is pretty bumpy if you're in a wheel seat. Thankfully, the rest of the ride returns to the smooth tracking. You then have 4 consecutive bunny hills. The first one is one of the larger hills in the ride, but it has an okay pop in front and some light lift in the back. The second is a dud, offering no forces. The third offers a tiny pop for everyone. Then the fourth is no airtime, but the subsequent pullout is quite compact and offers some mild Gs. Then you rise into the brake run, And this is the main reason I prefer the front row. This hill levels off sharply and fast, so you'll get a quick burst of ejector airtime. Even those towards the back of the train are thrown upwards, just not to the same effect as the front row. You then hit the skid brakes and cruise back to the unload platform, ending the 2,272 foot or 693 meter long coaster. Despite the modest length, this coaster feels a bit longer because of the multitude of bunny hills. So what would I rate Cannonball? I would give this classic PTC Woody a 6 out of 10. This is a solid wood coaster. It's not the biggest or fastest ride, but it's very well maintained and gives off a fun, old school vibe. Then you have Glorious Buzz Bars. While most of the airtime on this ride is on the weaker side, there are two really good spots that keep me running back in line. Don't expect much else in terms of intensity or laterals. This ride is pretty straightforward. So those are my thoughts on Cannonball at Lake Winnie. What are your thoughts on this John Allen coaster? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canobie Coaster. Thanks for watching.